just really wants me to buy him a drink later. But I don't have to because I just went and got like the gin and tonic. I mean, you can't serve it during the day and not have me drink it. It's just stupid. It's like, Andrew, Drew Ellis, you are the man. So yeah, the Salcombe gin, the pink one, excellent. That's just so my mouth doesn't get dry. So I know that it's nearly lunchtime, and last time I spoke at this same time last year. Luckily, I don't have anybody talking about tech before me, so I won't have to debunk all their stuff. Which is what I did to Jeremy Way of Watson AI last year. I was like, his stuff's great, but by the way, here's the bad shit. Now go eat lunch. Gonna kind of do the same thing right now, I'm so sorry. But it just means that it'll be more satisfying this afternoon because you'll feel like maybe I shouldn't post that Instagram picture. Who knew? But anyways, yeah, last year I did this talk and I told you, it's all connected. Connected data, all the things that you think are not really connected, they are. And especially if you have children. People with kids, this is gonna be like your warning, like a nice little bullet to the head. Because people with kids, it's more poignant for you. For those of us without kids, we're like, oh, we don't give a shit. But we really do, because it really is. We're talking about not Generation Alpha, we're talking about Generation Delta, we're talking about your grandkids. This is where it really becomes a factor, because right now, everything that we do is pulled together and it's all connected, forms a perfect picture for those marketers and creative agencies to market to you. But it also makes the world a lot smaller. So all the things that we think we can achieve for our kids, for our grandkids, social mobility, economic mobility, that's all gonna go away because we're gonna be able to form a picture of your life and your kids' life and your grandkids' life before they're even born, based on all of the information that you are sharing in society through social media, through your shopping, little cards that you stick on your key ring. You're like, oh yeah, I'm getting a discount. Yeah, okay. You're getting a discount, but boy, they're discounting your life. But yeah, a life in data. I'm gonna go through these really fast because it's time for lunch. I'm hungry, which is why I went and got the gin and tonic. I'm speaking really fast, there's a lot of information, and well, just generally. So, first of all, what's the first thing you see when you go to have a baby? It's like, they show you this nice little picture, and you're like, oh, baby. And then they show you this picture, oh, sleep. As Minter says, sleep. Matthew Walker's book, excellent. Oh my gosh. You have to listen to it too, by the way. Don't read that book, listen to it, because his voice is like so dulcet. Anyways, I digress. And I do this a lot, I digress. But this is some, I love that little, that's not me, by the way. I did not hack anything today. But this is your sleep schedule, and this is really important data. So this is information that they're taking, first piece of really technological information about your child when it's first born, is the sleep. You get all the, the heart and all that good stuff, but the sleep, that's really important. They really manifest that sleep data. But guess what? Then you have things like this. So if you see from the title, on September 11th, and I am British American, so it's relevant for half of my life. The 9/11, at 9/11, a baby was born weighing 9 pounds and 11 ounces, and this was in the US. This went international. This is from the BBC website. But what's really relevant about this, when you look at this picture, what do you think about that information that's up there?
Exposure.
Well, there's that. Skeptical me was like, yeah, right, it was probably like 9/12. But what's really relevant is the amount of information they've just given about a child that was just born. Because that baby was born on 9/11, date of birth. That goes on just about everything you ever want to buy, do in your life. No one's going to know your date of birth. Everything you do. Time of birth, that's for more specific things that you do in your life. That night's killing. 9 pounds, 11 ounces. Not quite as relevant, but still, it's really relevant if somebody wants to hack your life. What else? In this article, it tells you the baby's name. So now we have name, date of birth, time of birth, and we have the hospital. We also have, God bless me, the city and the state, Germantown, Tennessee, and the USA. So we have name, date of birth, the place of birth, and even down to the hospital, which sometimes people use as their password. It's always like the hint word, put a hint word. Where were you born? Some people don't put the city and state, they put the hospital because they think they're being smart. No, if you're hacking, and trust me, they use that one also. The mom's name, mother's maiden name, and the dad's name, because sometimes people go, well, I'm not going to use my mother's maiden name, I'm going to use my dad's first name. Ding, 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 ding. That information was in a BBC News article online, 3 days after that baby was born. Somebody has already created a nice profile of that kid before it's even out of the hospital. Then there's another picture, which I just didn't feel like I should put up there. Another picture of the baby's face. Not just this nice little one in the incubator, but the baby's face also. And we know about facial recognition technology and how it's being used and harnesses to really show you, I can't remember the name of that right now, the one where it's able to show you what you're going to look like when you get older. Mom, dad, pretty much figure out, based on mom and dad put together, and that baby's face, what it likely might look like. This is like a hacker's dream. When I saw it, I was like, oh, that poor kid. I thought, oh my gosh, that's really great. Then I thought, oh shit, that poor kid. But what's really, really, really scary about this is that this sort of information is shared everywhere. People do it all the time on your social media. People post pictures of their newborn. They think, oh, Facebook. We won't even go in deep on that. But Facebook, oh, I want to share it with my friends and family. And they think, oh, I won't share everything. But you've already shared because you didn't realize your location was turned on, where you were, the kid's name. Everybody shares I don't even know why, the weight and the length of the baby. I really am not sure why people do that anymore. But they shared so much information. And then guess what? People have pretty much already triangulated where you might be if you have that location turned off. Because before you went to the hospital, you took a picture. I'm just buying this really nice bouquet of flowers from so XYZ who just had a baby. And you're in front of this nice picturesque boutique, with all the flowers, just so you can get the discount from them because you posted about their shop. And they're like, if you post about their shop, put it on social media, we'll give you 5% off the next time you come. And you do that, triangulation, connect it all. That's what hackers do. And then you have the NHS Digital. So while people aren't doing this for specific date in the NHS, because it's not really 100% relevant in the UK, but they are doing it for other dates. So 7/7, people have done things like this. NHS Digital. I don't care what anybody says about NHS trying to be digital. They are not. Because they barely have computers that are functioning past Windows 2007. I think they're thinking 2003. So when they tell you we want NHS to become digital, it is. What's happening is that the 3 people that were the most senior in NHS Digital in the last 3 months have left the organization. Why? Because they've gone to private organizations. And why? It's because they really want to move towards privatizing the NHS. So they're taking all the information that you can get here, and they're teaching private corporations, oh, guess what? This is all the information that you can correlate, put together, and we'll be able to go, oh, look, private company GEDMAT. I don't remember how many people from GEDMAT actually worked in the NHS. I know the number, I can't remember, but not anybody in the upper echelons, but still a significant amount. And GEDMAT is one of the world's largest databases of DNA information. It hurts. Whenever I think about it, it hurts. Why is that turned off? But anyways, but what's really, really scary is that you have companies like Ancestry.com. Ancestry.com. This little C down here, you've got to turn that thing back on. This little C down here, this is a company called Calico. They're actually owned by Google. They do medical research. And what's really wonderful about them is that they're just evil. The do no evil didn't really extend, they don't have that under the Google launch anymore. They took that out. One wonders. Ancestry.com had a partnership with Calico, and it was basically, see that screen right there, and I don't have that anymore? I have to read this because it's absolutely heinous. I don't remember it by heart. They had this partnership where they were going to be supplying Calico with all the information from everybody who's had submitted DNA to Ancestry.com, which meant that Google, one of the largest companies in the world with a repository of so much information and data about people, would then have access to Ancestry.com, which basically means they would they may just market your whole life. They can already, but with your DNA, that's really kind of scary. Dude, you come down here and fix that? Okay, cool. What do you think? Yeah. It's yeah, but I'm not standing now. I'm like, send it this way. Okay, I'll give you guys some love. Okay, no, it just doesn't feel right. Sorry. No offense, but this is my natural leaning. So, okay, all right. It's hard. But this right here, Spotify. So what's really scary, there was a partnership with Ancestry.com and Spotify, and they were trying to say that based on your ancestry, your ethnic background, and your music choices, they would be able to figure out what you'd really like to listen to in the future, and get playlists, and make them more streamlined to your ethnic preferences, and give you hereditary background, like music. Oh, look, you're from a family like in Guyana, so guess what? You would want music that was more in that genre. Yeah, it was really bad. They kind of pushed that under the radar a little bit, but that did not stop them being awarded by this lovely, I can't tell you, I love this company, Big Brother Awards in Germany. They are the best. It's basically like the worst awards you can get for anything, and they gave Ancestry.com for exploiting an interest in genealogy to entice people into submitting saliva samples, to pile up a treasure trove of genome data for commercial research, because that is their actual business. Beautiful. They have this award, and they basically give these sort of, what's that one when you, instead of getting an Oscar, you get the... Raspberry. Yeah, basically it's like the Raspberry for business, but specifically for organizations that are saying that they're doing good. I haven't checked out when they gave Google one, but I know they did. But that feeds into the little organizations that are going around saying, location. And what's really scary is that you have organizations that say they've turned off the location data, but this is from an article in the New York Times where there was a nurse talking about she thought she had the data, the location, GPS access on her phone turned off. And in fact it wasn't. So it was tracking her, not only as she was going to work, to and from work, around the city, it was tracking her while she was in the actual hospital. So you connect her information, that nurse, her information with the patients that are also in the hospital. Because remember, you posted your picture on Instagram and you said, I'm at the hospital because this baby's being born. You put that together with this nurse who's also at the hospital, and she's saying, I just helped deliver this baby and this baby, and this baby was in ICU. Somebody posts a picture and says, my baby was in ICU, and you match all of that up. And maybe people aren't doing that all at one time, but if you have all of that information, eventually it's able to be honed down, collated, and it gets a nice big picture of what you're doing, what you're going to be doing in the future, the potentials. And that's just it. This is not about what can always be done now. This is about the potential. This is about what can be done in the future with all of the information that you are just giving away willy-nilly to the world. This is about what's going to happen to your children in the future, because they're going to have all of this before they're even out of the door. Before they're even out of the womb, they'll have all this information. And every moment of every day, mobile phone apps are just taking that detailed information, the detailed location data. A lot of people don't realize that. Unfortunately, it is true. You log into open Wi-Fi somewhere, that's already implanted in your phone. I talked about last year, BT's in London, they have these BT wireless towers where they're giving you free Wi-Fi all over the city. Don't do it. As much as it hurts me, because I'm like, ooh, free data! No, don't do it. Don't do it. Because it's basically tracking you. And you can already be tracked. You can be tracked by using your Oyster card, using your debit card when you go in a location. All of that is connected. It's connected when you're using your phone, when you go into a location. It's saying, oh, you're here. And then, I just noticed it. I love G&T. So. And it's connecting all of that information. But when you add it all up, not about you. This is about the future, because it's going to get a lot smaller, a lot faster. Then you have companies like 23andMe, who's a competitor to Ancestry.com. Ancestry.com makes their money basically because they sell all your information to third parties. 23andMe doesn't yet. 23andMe actually went through the FDA in the US, so their product to go and get your DNA tested is actually to the consumer. It's directly to the consumer. But what's really scary about this is that your average person thinks that just because they're going directly to the company and it's just that one-to-one relationship, it really isn't, because it's still going into this big repository. And eventually there will come a time when law enforcement will be able to say, we need this, because GEDmatch already did that. That's how they found the Golden Gate Killer, is because family members shared their DNA. The California State, I can't remember, I think it was California State Police in San Francisco, I can't remember. But anyways, they went and said, hey, we need this access to this DNA database. And they caught the killer because so many different family members had supplied DNA. Yeah, that's great. And that's the argument that always wins out when it comes down to people giving information, because they think, security. It's going to make the world more secure if we all just give them everything that they need. Not necessarily, because you always have to remember, for everything that's developed in the world, unfortunately, there are people that are going to want to do bad stuff because that makes the most money. It's just the way it is, unfortunately. Sorry, I'm being a little cynical. But it is true. It is true. Unfortunately, when it comes down to tech, it may be that the tech is developed for good, which is what companies like 23andMe are doing. They've developed this great test. It's wonderful, but at the same time, people are taking that information and they're using it and harnessing it to do things that are bad. And directly selling to the consumer, I think that is not the best thing in the world, because your average person does not know what they're doing. Oh, your book's up here, sorry. They're not aware of what the average person is not aware of, how powerful and how important that information is. Because if you're just going into a mall, it's like going into a mall and just signing up to get a credit card. And they haven't told you all the small details. You think they have, but they haven't. And it's just wholly irresponsible. Share renting. I love this term. This is that thing where everybody feels that they need to share all of the information about their family on social media. And right now there is a backlash. There's a backlash between the younger generation, probably around 15 and under, where they're saying to their parents, I didn't give you permission to share my picture. You know, I'm not on Facebook. There's a reason why the age is 13 for most social media networks. It's because kids are not supposed to be on there. So it's like, if your kid can't have an account, why are you sharing pictures of your kid? Because they're already getting all that freaking information about your child. You share a picture of your child at this age, oh man, the data points you can get off of that face right now, just for for facial recognition. It's like, ooh, it's unreal. It's just a beautiful thing, but it's also a bad thing, because you have just basically sold your kid. You've sold your kid, your kids' kids, your grandkids. The future generations of your family you've sold. They're already gone. So anybody in here who has shared pictures of their kids, I'm just letting you know, stop. Even if you think, oh, well, my account is private. Guess what? No, it isn't. We all know that. We've all seen the whole Cambridge Analytical stuff, whatever. But it's not. It's gone into that nice big bank. You really have to just make sure you're aware. If you want to continue to do it, that's fine. But you need to be very much aware. And now you are aware. What you should and should not do is that you really need to check where that information is going. Talk to your kids. If your kids are at the age where they can say, no, don't do that, don't do it. Because when they get to be 18, they're not really going to like the fact that mommy or daddy shared a picture of them when they were 5 years old, running around without any freaking clothes on. And guess what? I can guarantee within the next 5 to 10 years that there will be technology that will be able to predict what someone's going to look like naked based on a picture that they took when they were 5 years old. That will be existing. And it won't be nice for a lot of people when they're going, yeah, my penis was that side, and now people are estimating my penis is this side. It's not going to be nice. And it is something they're already playing with in movie sets. It is, I spoke to somebody, it is something they're playing with. Minority Report was actually pretty true at some of the things that it predicted. Henrys, they are high earners, not rich yet. And they are those millennials that are around the age where they're going to be starting to have kids, and they're thinking about, wait a minute, all the things that I am giving for free and getting for free, what are they getting from me? So you have WeWork and you have Meetup. WeWork bought Meetup. A lot of people did not know that. It happened a few years ago, but Meetup was the place that everybody was using to put their events together. And because WeWork is having financial issues, basically they'd never made any money, they now want to make money. So they put a surcharge on people using Meetup. What does that mean for the younger generation of millennials that said, I don't want to use Eventbrite, I don't want to use Facebook events, I'm going to use Meetup? They're now recognizing that all the things that they get for free, all of the apps that we're using are now taking the information that they have gathered about us, and they are using it for their advantage. Because Uber is now doing some Uber Health thing. Lyft, all of these pieces of information they have. Uber, prices surge because they know that your battery, and it is true. I don't care if they try to debunk it and say, oh no, that's not true. It's true. I've spoken to the DevOps team. It's true. Uber. Yes, when your battery is low, the prices surge. Also dependent upon the weather, also dependent upon road construction, where you are and where you want to go. If you put in an address and they can see that that address is in an area that is somewhat secluded and you're in an area that is really busy, your battery is low and they know that you're going to have to wait and you're not going to have the battery power at the end of that trip to actually check the price, they're going to be like, yeah, price surge. And you desperately need to get there because you live in, the end of zone 6, which is where I live, you're done. Surge pricing. And that's just based on all the information that they've collected. Maybe not from you, but it's a collation of information. And that's what you need to remember. It's not always pinpointed on you. It is the collective. And it's all connected. And people just need to remember that. Be aware that, it's nothing to do with me. It is everything to do with you and everything to do with how they can make money from you. This little jumping thing. I know I'm probably running over, but I have to talk about this because this is really important. So you know how you have that picture of that kid and you can see all the nice little features on the face. TikTok. Oh no, I'm good. I've got plenty of time. TikTok was the largest, I think it was the most downloaded app of 2018 in the US. TikTok. TikTok's owned by a Chinese company called ByteDance. ByteDance was created in part by funding from any company in China is funded in part by the Chinese government. That's just a given. But what really, really kills me is that everybody's saying, oh, facial recognition, surveillance technology in China, oh, that's such a bad thing, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, I live in London. It's the most surveilled city in the Western world. The thing is, with China, it's overt, and that is the way that society has been programmed. In Western society, it is subvert, and everybody thinks that it doesn't happen. It does happen. We are surveilled, it's just not as overt. And what's really scary is that people think, oh, this is about our security, this is about making us safer. But with everything that you think is making you safe, you give up a level of privacy. And that privacy doesn't always mean that the people that are keeping it secure are going to be doing the best thing that's for you. It's the best thing that's deemed as best for the whole of society, which sometimes just means the people that make the most money that make the decisions. Who knew? But what's really scary about this is that the technology for facial recognition technology is miles and miles and miles ahead in China than it is in anywhere in the world. And that is because of platforms like TikTok. What's really scary about TikTok, and TikTok is the rage. You can build a freaking picture of yourself, change it, make your face older, put on it's all the rage. But because they are doing this, they have the ability to build a database of the most multi-ethnic populations in the world. From a country that is homogeneous by like 98%, they are able to build a database now because of TikTok, because you have people all over the world using TikTok. So now, everybody before was saying in China, they're building apps, they're building any sort of recognition data, and it's all built on Chinese population. So it's not going to work for everybody, which is why there was a big uproar with the hand dryers and soap dispensers that weren't working for people that were black or anybody who had darker skin than your average Caucasian person. And everybody was uproar about it. They've solved that issue. They don't really care about that issue. But this issue they do care about, because that means that they can sell it to the rest of the world. That means that they have just now leapfrogged all of the companies in the US that unfortunately have maybe 5 or 6 guys working on facial recognition software, an AI program that unfortunately at the beginning is not as diverse a team, and they're having problems, which is why you have airports which don't always recognize someone who is black, even though you have that nice passport, and you go up, and it goes, take your picture, and the gate doesn't open, and you're like, take my picture, check my feet, got no glasses on. Yeah, it's not working. So then you have to go into that other line because that facial recognition technology didn't work for somebody who was black. But what China has done by building this nice database is that they're going to be able to develop that technology, change it for their airports faster than somebody in the Western world, because they're not thinking like this. They're just thinking this is a social app. They're thinking this is something to play with. And in China, as I always say, the Western world are playing like drafts. Russia is playing chess. And China, they're playing Go. And that's because they're thinking long term. They're thinking strategically quite long term with how they develop technology. Everybody's on them all the time about make sure you're up to standards. They don't care about that. Oh, I shouldn't say that on camera. Okay. I do want to come back to China sometime. I lived there once. But it's all about winning and making sure that the technology that you're using is winning. And they're building this. And I can guarantee that the companies that are going to be selling your data in the future will be selling it based on your face. They will be selling it based on the information that they have accrued from you using social media. And facial recognition technology is going to be it. It will also be optics. Optics is a whole nother conversation. And if you watch the show, this is why I said, don't let people take pictures of your babies, because they're going to build this based on your kids. Because your kids, once you started posting pictures of your kids, they're able to track that. And there was a study that somebody did like 20 years ago, and they've been tracking families with the kids and looking at how they've changed, what they've changed in their appearance, what's different. But this is the way that they are going. And there was a television show called The Capture. That was really kind of weird. And, and in the show, it's somebody who has been accused, wrongly accused, I won't do the spoiler, but of some murders, disappearances, whatever. And they use facial recognition technology in order to apprehend the people involved. And this is supposed to be based in London. But what was quite fascinating about this show, when they asked me to come on and speak, was I got to sit with two of the cast members before, and we had this conversation in the green room about what I knew about facial recognition technology and about also what I thought was going to happen on the show. The show hadn't debuted. I didn't watch the trailer yet, and I just read an article about the show. But I spoke to the stars of the show, and I said, well, this is going to happen. I said, they'll be able to basically figure out whether or not it was him. Someone's going to alter some video. They're going to be placing images of somebody else because they're going to match the data points of his face. And if it's similar, it's easy to transport that image onto another person's face, which is what, if you've seen the video of John Malkovich being transposed on Jennifer Lawrence, there's a lot more recent ones that are a lot better. You can see how that can be done. And that's sort of the thing, that's the way it's going. And that's what you really need to be aware of, is how that's going to affect your children in the future, and grandchildren, and great-grandchildren. And everybody thinks it's just this thing, oh yeah, I'll be able to do shopping, I'll be able to, buy some clothes and stand over here and look at how I'd look if I was 20 pounds lighter, I could put this outfit on, if I did my hair differently. This is how they market it to you in order for you to become accepted. Market it to you with, this is going to make your life more convenient, this is great for your shopping, this is great for your life. Oh, it's also going to make the world more secure. But the fact of the matter is, they're just trying to make people stupid. And as Nicole said, keep it simple, stupid. And that's what they've done. This is how they normalize people accepting giving up information that they shouldn't. And this is really just about awareness right now. That's all I'm trying to do, is raise awareness. Put it to the top of your mind like, hey, really think twice when you do share something. Read that small print. Turn off the location accessibility. Read the small print. Don't just go, oh, I downloaded it, accept. When you go to a website and it's tracking the cookies, trust me, even when you do that, oh, don't track them, they're still tracking you, because they have 15 other pages beyond that first page where it says, oh, I don't want my personalized data to be, sending, check, oh, accept the cookies, no, don't check. All of those boxes, underneath all of those boxes, there's another page, and it's got about 15 different companies that are advertising. It's got another 15 companies that are taking your information. It goes so deep and so far, and a lot of people just go accept. And it's just about being aware, especially when it comes to your children, especially when it comes to being secure about what you're doing for your future, securing your legacy, because there will be no movement of social mobility. People will just be stuck because you connect it all. They'll know where you're going to go to school, your kid's going to go to school, how much your kid's going to make, probably roughly what career path your kid will go into, because based on everything you're sharing about what they did at school, the extracurricular activities they did, where they're thinking about going to school, and what their grades are, they pretty much narrowed it down already. And then based on how much money you're making. So, yeah, sorry, I don't mean to depress, but you can go to lunch and have a gin and tonic. This is just, I don't need to talk about that. This is just some of the things that in the future in your house that you need to be aware of, because it's all going to be connected. We think it's really great, and it is. I love technology, but at the same time, I'm very aware of the good and the bad and the ugly. And unfortunately, when you work in an organization or you work in national security and you know that this is going to be great, it's going to protect people, but at the same time, you're very much aware of the threats of the people that are going to be using that for really nefarious means. It's scary. And it's scary because you look at all of the different areas of your house. I mean, gait analysis, that was used in the capture. It's basically the software that's telling somebody, showing how you walk. You add that in, how you walk, where you're walking to, your face. People, they'll know it's you before you've even gotten there. You'll be 3 miles away walking and someone knows it's you. I mean, that's really scary. It's really thrilling, but really scary at the same time. It's just to be aware. And that's all this is. This is just to be aware. This guy, Minoy Saxony, he was the social guy behind IBM Watson, like when it first came. And earlier this year, I saw him speak. And I just thought this was the most fascinating quote. The world is going to become our browser and we will become the cursor. Which is true, because we're just being moved around. Moved around. Where are you going, John? Do not trust the robots. I just like that picture. But this is the one I like the most. I put this in every single slide deck I ever do. And this is because I took this picture at a castle in Germany about 2013 or 14. And I'm over time. Ooh. Okay, I'm done anyways. But this is because this is my no shit. It doesn't matter. Everything I've told you, you already knew. You knew on some level. I wasn't telling you anything new. Maybe some of the minute points, but I wasn't telling you anything you didn't know. And it is really, make sure you're aware of what you're doing. Make sure when you do post pictures, make sure you're sharing information that you want to be shared. Think about your legacy. That's the way I always tell it. Think about your legacy 3 generations down the line. Think about what you want your family to be remembered as. And also, just think, do I want my mom to see this? Because that's usually it. It's like, oh, do I want my grandma to see this? Nah, maybe not. So that's it. That's me. Done.